Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. This is Carol Parisi. Today, our founder, Jack Roser, and myself have doctor, attorney, candidate with this huge, long major, Barbara BELAR, that is running for the Senate in the 18th District. And being a champion requires excellence and discipline. Would you agree, Dr. BELAR?
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, certainly. As I was saying, I think it's kind of been my theme before I was even a teenager, just discipline yields excellence. And I find personally I've developed a great capacity for delayed gratification. And I think that's kind of a good tool in life. You know, you set your goal and then you can sacrifice to get toward it. You know,
Let's talk a little more about that, because I think with those that type of ideology, that yielded a lot of your success and helped you attain these things.
I think you're right. You can take that template and apply it politically. You know, just as we said, you can't run your household the way the government is running the government. And it's just, you know, cleaning out. It's weapons of money destruction is what they're doing.
Well, we don't have any delayed gratification here.
That's
we have
the
a
point.
Printing press, and we want something, and we create this unsustainable debt for our children and grandchildren, and especially Illinois. And I know that our pension system is problematic here, because I don't believe they employ or deploy delayed gratification tactics either, do they?
Obviously not. As you said, unsustainable runaway train. The whole thing needs to be, you know, we need caps, we need to put on the brakes, we need to reform, investigate. There's many things that need to be done.
Do you think
And we should not be putting now the burden of the irresponsibility that was a result of causing this pension deficit that's breaking Illinois, now back on the backs, to use that, of the taxpayers, by saying now we're going to put that bill into the, you know, the schools and other places.
the local towns.
As of recently.
How in blazes do they think they could possibly put that on the burden of the local taxpayers' home bill? They're insane. It was in '96 when the game playing at the local school districts by the crazy teachers union, the education union, the IEA, that started running things. And in '96, they had run it into the ground where they couldn't pay the cost of education locally anymore. And so they threw it to the legislature. And boy, that's when the thing really opened up to all of the craziness of these politicians run by the crazy union that takes all of this money from the teachers and dues and puts it into the crazy campaigns of Madigan and the rest of the Democrats. They own this thing. They own it, both houses, the legislature, governor of Chicago, Madigan, 42 years. There's no place else to look for the people that year after year after year kept magnifying these crazy benefits for the featured ones, the ones at the top of the education establishment, ran up this $80 billion deficit. There's no way easy out of that thing. We really got to change the whole thing. Very major ways, not about the ones just entering it. They didn't cause the problem. It's the ones that have been in that 5, 10, 20, 30 years. They're the ones that have run up these crazy pensions. At the university end, they're as high as $400,000 a year. That's crazy.
But you know what, not to be snarky, and I'm very serious when I say this, I am not being snide here. If they put this back on local taxpayers,
it's impossible. They're not going to do that.
No? I mean, if they do that, don't you think that would give the opportunity, though, for local taxpayers to wake up?
Knock them flat with the real estate tax. You do that. They're already overdone with all of the crazy spending that they do, even at the local levels. Because the legislature has set a horrible example for everybody below the geniuses in Springfield. So they're already overspent. How are you going to take what was impossible in '96 and stick it back on them, magnified many times? What are these idiots down there doing with a possibility like
property
that?
taxes, though.
Well, and
They are insane. And you know who else is insane? It's the bloody Tribune. It's a major newspaper around here, and all of the rest of the major media, the real smart Alex on TV. Have they caught on to this very simple idea that we've already overworked the local taxpayer, and he can't take back the burden that was too big back in '96, and none of these idiots in the press can discover this? What's the matter with them?
If they put these pensions back on the districts, you've already got, look at all the foreclosures, look at all the people that have moved, look at what has happened to the home values. They've plummeted.
Right.
We're looking at a dead economy when it comes to homes right now.
Right.
If they do this, you're going to see a domino effect because there's people barely keeping their homes now.
Right.
It's going to be a domino effect all across Illinois.
As soon as anybody thinks that they would possibly do that, people are going to quit buying these homes, which are presently at slightly attractive prices. But they're going to cause this thing to go through another crash.
Right.
What kind of idiot have we got down there? And what is the matter with a super politician, Mr. Madigan?
Did you see what Madigan recently proposed? He says, well, we'll go after all the townships and cities. We're just not going to give them their sales taxes. We're just going to keep that money for ourselves. Now, he did this, and there was a write-up in it, and I believe that's probably right, is he doesn't want any resistance when it comes to putting it back on the school districts. So he's letting them know, if you oppose the school districts, this is what's coming down the pike. We're going to take all your money.
Well, what about what Governor Quinn wants to do now and to have a universal health care in Illinois? As a doctor, Dr. BELAR, how do you think that's going to work for Illinois?
This is really a big one, and I'd like to go right back to that. But, we've kind of, I got a little loud and over-talked on Barbara. What you've got here is a woman that knows an awful lot. She's gone through big training, far beyond what I ever have, and most of us, multiple degrees, and been in the Army and performed as a physician. She's still a very quiet person, and it cuts you off a bit on the matter of discipline. And I'm not asking you to bellow like I do, but I do want to point out that this bunch of silly people down in Springfield have been staggering into each other, playing at politics, and running up huge deficits. It could stand a person like you, intelligent, willing to speak up in quiet words, insanely. They needn't be insulted down there as they would be by me, but boy, they sure need your quiet, intelligent discipline.
I appreciate that, and I really appreciate your wisdom in everything you say. I'm very interested, and a quality that is needed is to be a good listener. And I think I, have that opportunity with teaching in medicine. And,
I failed that course.
Oh, no, that's fine. If you wanted to mention, as we were talking about, Obamacare, is an abomination as far as I'm concerned, and I really think, it's something that definitely should be found unconstitutional, though I don't know what's coming down the pike on that decision. I'm thinking that maybe they'll say it can't be mandated, but they may save some of it. Depends on the severability clause and other aspects. But, it's very interesting. I mean, I want to represent the physicians and the patients, the public, the constituents on this matter. And, we're not to become socialized medicine. People still deserve to be able to pick out their doctor. I foresee if Obamacare is passed, every physician probably within 5-10 years will be a federally employed physician, or you won't be employed. I mean, it'll affect research, it'll affect innovation, it'll affect many things. And I hear stories that if you read the voluminous, Obamacare Healthcare Act, Portability Act, and that, it refers to patients as units. And there also, it says they're over 70. If you come to an emergency room, suppose you have a hemorrhage bleed or whatever, cerebral bleed, it could be evacuated. Over 70, it's only comfort measures. So you might not be treated. I mean, there's many aspects about that are very questionable. And tax money, between the lines there, are going to go to termination of pregnancies and abortions, whether you want your tax money to go to that or not.
Right.
I mean,
what about what's
many
happening in
aspects.
Illinois, what Governor Quinn proposed with a single payer?
Well, it sounds like as of late, just in the last couple of days, do I perceive that he just wants to vote this through when everyone is saying, wait a minute, we need to see if this is going to be constitutional or not. We need to look at this more, or it's unconstitutional. It's too soon. We just need to hold our horses on this and see what's, shouldn't be imposed.
They have not done such a great job with the pensions, and government has not done such a great job with the post office and many other things.
I'll stop you. What have they done a good job of?
See, that's
one.
the point.
Name one success area.
Yeah.
I'm speechless, which doesn't happen to me quite often.
That's why we believe in limited government.
Limited government is the best
That's why
form
we need to
of
privatize
government.
these public services.
Right,
You know,
right.
to make them competitive and innovative.
You know what? We're going to talk more about competition, innovation when we come back.